Oh, Nisi made it first, right before Ryan S. warming up the computer. We have to give it a little gas to the carburetor, if you know what I'm saying, because it's time for interneting. What up, internet? Another beautiful, lovely Tuesday here in Tacoma, Washington. Couldn't really ask for better weather today than today, because it was like, I don't know, about 70 and just kind of partly sunny, so you kind of get that good mix of everything you're looking for, depending on what it is that you're looking for. To those of you that are early to the internet, we shall discuss a little bit about yesterday, why there was no live stream yesterday. As you guys know, I'm trying to do about 5 a week is what I'm trying to get up. Trying to do 5 of these a week. That's my goal. So if I kind of miss a day or two here or there, then I'm trying to get 5. That's really what I'm trying to do here. So, as you guys can tell, your chats are now showing up in the video as I move my hand around here. And I believe I may have set up some of the video a little bit weird, but we'll see how this goes. I wonder if I, hold on, check this out. Watch this magic. What if I go over here? Ah, yes. But now I'm awkwardly off to the side, so we'll just go like this. Oh, we gotta move it. Oh, we should. Left is right, right is left. Yeah. Or maybe I should just move my body. Oh, there we go. Let me move my body. There we go. Okay, so as I was talking about, you guys are now up on there. So, moderators moderate. Do your moderation if need be. We'll see if anybody super chats if that shows up. I don't know, because there's 2 different encoders that I downloaded, so we're trying this one first. Although they're both in the beta, so we'll see how this goes. If XSplit works or not. Hopefully it works for the full flow tonight. But there's no live chat, no live stream, live chat, live stream, live chat. Let's see here. What's the word? Oh, there was no live stream yesterday because I was getting fitted for a suit for this weekend. So hopefully this will be the last few days of this haircut, and I can finally go back to my mohawk. We shall see what Vicky says. Maybe I'll be able to just rock my mohawk because I got a barber shop appointment on Friday, so we'll see how that goes. Which means the live stream Interruptus may be coming along this week. Hopefully I hit 5 Saturday mornings. For those of you that can't do these kind of late night, for me it's not that late. It's like 8:30 here. So, what's the word? It's not that late for me, but it's late for a lot of people. Like if you're in England right now, in the UK, it would be a nightmare to try and be timed for this, because I'm never good at this. No, maybe not the UK. Maybe like the middle of the Atlantic Ocean would be a problem. So Icelanders, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Icelanders. Probably too late for you. But we do have Joel Gillett, who is showing up from New Zealand. So we have New Zealanders. We have our international part covered. Rurutu, Nisi, Ryan S., TITI, and Fisher for Boxes showing up today. Right on, guys. And there probably is a moderator around here. I have a few of them. They're probably always lurking, like Potato, the lurker, the ultimate in lurker, Potate Bro. He's always sneaking around. So yesterday I was getting fitted for a suit. Turns out I'm less beefy than I used to be. So that is a good thing. I still got a couple of pounds off here, the front to shed. But honestly, I'll say I'm kind of at the weight that I like to be at right now. I'm at about 178, which is where I kind of like to reside. If I cut too much more weight, I start to really lose my endurance, realistically. I start getting really tired. I don't know what that's about, but maybe that's a dietary problem. Who knows? But Turns out I'm a 38 long now instead of a 40. So, had to get a new suit. A little chunk of change out there because suits is expensive, my friends. I know women have a lot of complaints in regards to how much clothing costs. I get what you're saying, because when I have to go pick up a suit, it's very comparable to women's prices. So even at a screaming deal, there's $300 worth of an outfit rocking that style. As you guys know, you guys pretty much pay attention. I normally rock my Western shirts that I get at they're actually Dickies Western shirts. I kind of buy them in bulk and just burn through them. Same with my pants. And $300 will go a long ways with my work pants and work shirts, if you know what I'm saying. So, to those of you guys out there that have to wear a suit to work every day, sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. It's a brutal cost. But very snazzy, I will say, and hopefully my lady will enjoy my festive attire. So we got that to look forward to, which is always awesome. Let's see, projects here going on. That's what's happening. That's why there was no live stream last night, because I was trying to get fitted. Those of you that are here to see, what was the title? How did I title it? Tuesday, time to plant some Wendtii. I never know how to say that right. Wendtii. Cryptocoryne Wendtii Bronze. Cryptocoryne. Crypt. I normally just call them crypts because my Latin sucks these days. But the let's see here. So we got the Cryptocoryne Bronze. So we'll talk about that one a little bit. I do have a lot of crypts that are going into the 240. I got some Lutea. I got some green. I got some Wendtii. I got some bronze. I got some undulata. Got a couple of other ones too. Those are going to be mostly occupying the left-hand side of the tank. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of crypts. I love crypts. I think that they are wildly entertaining. They're really pretty to look at for sure, and it's definitely nice to set layers in the tank. So I'm really looking forward to getting this tank going and growing. You know, now that I'm planting, I'm getting to the time where it's like impatience is going to start kicking in. But the awesome thing about that is we have 3 other tanks to set up. As you guys can see, my middle finger is still weirdly black. And the camera seems to pick that up really well. TITI saying, crypts are one of your favorite plants that don't need CO2. I still gas them with CO2 for sure because I want them to grow super fast. I was reading an article a while ago that somebody was saying it takes them about 6 months to start sending out runners. And I think maybe the difference there is maybe they weren't doing CO2 with their crypts. I normally have pretty robust growth and runners. Normally, like after a month, around that time. I wouldn't say 6 months, but it was a really good article. It was really well done, and it's kind of stupid for me to bring it up now because I can't remember exactly where I was reading it. Joel Gillett was saying it's amazing how different the general public treat you when you're in a suit. You're probably right. It definitely, if you are schnazzed up, people will, I guess, kind of treat you a little bit differently, which is maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I'm not sure. Hopefully our society is moving forward to not judge a book by its cover, right? Ha-ha! Route 2, just become a billionaire, then you can wear sweats everywhere like Mark Zuckerberg. I will say this. I'm not a guy who likes to wear really what people would consider comfortable clothes, like sweats or any of that kind of stuff. I do like having my work clothes on for whatever reason. I'm just not a guy who likes to do that. And that's, I don't know, I guess it's just personal preference. I like to be ready for work for whatever reason, digging holes and spazzing out in the yard and just doing whatever. So that's, I guess that's just me. I'm just kind of a weirdo like that. But either way. So I have a quick piece of, I guess, what do you call it? What do you call it? The, Oh, I guess some attention to some of this. So the last video that we put up, some people, I guess, emailed me and commented that they weren't, because I was talking about the subscribers being at a net of 0. Some people were saying I was being passive-aggressive about that. Well, here's the thing. Here's my response to that. I'm not even going to bother to type back to those people. If you don't like it, it's not for you. That's okay. That's totally fine. I wasn't being passive-aggressive. I thought it was just kind of a funny thing to talk about. But if y'all don't like where the channel is going or whatever, sorry to say, I guess it's just not for you, my friend. Sorry. So anybody that's leaving, hey man, cool, that's your thing. Anybody that's staying and coming and going or whatever, do whatever you want. It's all good. I like to make what I like to make here, video-wise, and maybe it's just not your flavor. That's cool. I don't like banana-flavored ice cream, but I'm glad they make it because somebody out there really digs that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happening with that, and hopefully that's a good enough explanation. I thought it was funny to just be at a net of 0. I noticed that, and I thought it was pretty funny. So, so we have the little bit of what do you call this? Advertising time. I guess we have a minute here of advertising, so I'm going to run through it real quick, guys, so we can get out of the way at the beginning. Those of you that have been super chatting and stuff, we're beating out the advertisers, and if we can beat out the advertisers, then they will just go away. I'm going to eliminate them altogether if we can beat them outright, like faux show. So that's the motivation behind this. That's the motivation for doing this whole thing. So that's the whole, to get rid of advertisers. We don't like advertisers, or we do, or whatever. I'm not sure. Do we like them? I don't know. I guess it depends on who the advertiser is. I bet there's probably some cool ones out there. But either way, the random YouTube advertisements just kind of need to go away, because we all already know what movies are coming out and what car we want to buy anyhow, right? Okay, cool. So one way you can help out is by super chatting down at the bottom of the chat, blah, blah, blah. You super chat $1, $2, $5, or if you're Zuckerberg, just throw the 100 million in there, and we'll handle that. We'll handle that transaction if Zuckerberg does show up. I bet you he'd probably knock on the door like some kind of creepy zombie or something anyhow, so maybe we don't need to bring him up. He probably knows. But either way, the other way to help out with the funding of the channel, whatever you want to call it, is to go to darkstararts.com. That is my website. You can go there and click through the Amazon banner and buy stuff on Amazon. It doesn't matter what you buy, whether it's flapjacks or jump ropes or unicycles. Yeah. Go buy all 3 of those and put them together. You know what I'm saying? And you'll have a hell of a weekend. It doesn't matter what you buy there. It doesn't change the price or any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, do it if you want. If you don't want to do it, who cares? Just keep in mind that if you've done it only one time and you think that's good, you have to do it on a regular basis. Just click through it and do it. Because whatever advertisement you may or may not have clicked on later on, it will be tracking you that way. So, blah, 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 whatever. Anybody knows the rigmarole if you want to do it. darkstararts.com. That's my website. And you can look at some finished paintings, unlike the unfinished ones in the background. Wherever Dwayne is, hopefully, yeah, that tree back there will be getting done someday. Who knows? Oh, hold on. We're losing the chat here. What's going on, Tai Hang, my man? Since you use Fuval stratum and fluorite sand, do you use iron to give your crypts a bronze? Give your crypts a bronze color? Let me see here. How can I answer that in a way that makes sense? I have some fluorite red in the tank that I'm putting the crypts in right now. So that would probably be the easiest way to describe the addition of iron into my tank. Occasionally I'll use a supplemental iron here and there. That is so rare that you really need to add it that it doesn't come up very often that I really need to add anything like that. Typically it's just light CO2 and I don't find that there is a huge deficiency in iron from the Fluval stratum, so I have not really encountered it that much. But like I said, I do dose on a rare occasion, maybe once maybe once a month or something like that. I'll dose a little bit of ferts if I notice something is going wrong, and I normally dose a spectrum of micro and macro. I used to do the EI dosing a long time ago every time I did a water change, and let me tell you something, that turned into a huge pain in the buns. Unregulated plant growth. Plants were growing like too fast, too slow. I kept encountering some wacky algae every once in a while when I may or may not have screwed up my dosing or this or that and the other thing. So I just find nowadays, like around once a month, I might dose a little bit of micro and macro, which makes it a little bit easier. That's kind of my goal with maintaining these little ecosystems, is try to make it as easy as possible to maintain a healthy little ecosystem, and without just having to do a whole bunch of legwork all of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my tanks to be set up to a point where if I'm gone for 3 or 4 or 5 days, that something really bad happens. And also, it kind of takes a strain off me during the week, where I can actually just go and just, if I've set aside like 15 or 20 minutes for the tank, and there's nothing really, 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 really pressing to be done, then I can actually just go chill out and check them out. Kyle's Fish Room, I forgot to say what's up, and Ruru2M, what's up. Get some bulk reed supply. Bulk Reef Supply actually was one of the few sponsors that I worked with a long time ago. But most sponsorship for YouTubers out there and stuff is they'll send you something random, and then you do a review for it. So you essentially end up making a commercial for whatever product. And if I was going to get into that, I would just start making commercials for companies. So that's the slight issue. One of the ultimate fan favorites, URU Joey, the king of DIY, just got sent for I don't even know. He had a huge pile of Ecotech parts and pumps and all that stuff, and each one of those MP60s that he got are worth like $600. So if Ecotech wants to send me a giant shipment of pumps and power heads and all that stuff, feel free. I will gladly review them pretty much every day for the rest of the year if that's the case. But I was typically sent products that I didn't really use on a regular basis. And even one of the products that I got, I ended up emailing back and forth with the company, and I was like, look, this thing is a piece of crap. I don't want to make a video and upload it and say that your thing is a piece of crap. And they were like, oh, we're sorry about that. We're actually redesigning it, and we're going to be coming out with a new one later, so disregard the one that we sent you. And, realistically, that kind of stuff just turns into a clusterfuck as you go along and just try and do stuff with these guys. So I just generally try to avoid it. And those of you that have been following for a long time know some other companies I've had some fun interactions with. So that's generally why I stay away from them. I'd rather this be fan-funded than anything else and be able to just turn off advertisers and have nothing to do with them. But as far as Tai Hang was asking, I've never really had a huge problem with the iron and just using the Fluval stratum, really. I just haven't really seen it that much. The one thing that I have seen is potassium shortage here and there every once in a while, but as I'm dosing some ferts every once in a while, I just don't really have that issue anymore. And using light timers seems to help out for a lot of that stuff. All right, so we're going to go on to the next scene, and let's see what's going to happen. Let's see here. We're going to go on to the next scene, and hopefully this thing doesn't crash and everything works amazingly. Oh, scene 2. Scene 3. Okay. All right, so it's working. It's working. Oh my God, it didn't crash. And then it'll load everybody's... There we go. Then it loads everybody's chat. There we go. We don't have a black background anymore. Okay, we'll work on that later. I think I'll actually have to size down the video and move it around or whatever, but you all get the point. If y'all are watching later on, you'll get a good idea of what's happening in the chat. And Ruru2 called me out on saying clusterfuck. It does happen from time to time. I try to keep my cursing to a minimum, which means I probably only curse once a minute or something like that. Putting the effort in, right? So as you guys can see, I was talking about this in the last live stream. These are the potted plants that you're looking for, and Rurutu is asking, where are you buying these giant crypts pots? Okay, let me look up this store. Hold on a second. I got it in my phone here. This is the store I was going to, and Long Wu pointed this out. He texted it to me. He was asking if this was the store. Okay, it's Aquarium and Garden in Federal Way. It's called Aquarium and Garden in Federal Way. If you're anywhere in the south end of western Washington, it'd be pretty easy to get to. Just off the I-5. The owner's name is Michael. He's always there with his kid playing video games, which is dope. They actually had a bunch of bad reviews on Google when I looked at it, and it was realistically a lot of bad reviews from people that didn't really seem to know too much about what a fish store is supposed to be like. I think they were more expecting like puppies and birds and all sorts of stuff, but it is pretty dedicated to fish. It's got a lot of tanks in there. It's got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of dry goods. Definitely, if you're looking for dry goods, he's probably got it there. And he also had like crystal shrimp, stuff like that. A bunch of cichlids, a bunch of strange fish. He doesn't have those giant alligator gar or anything like that anymore. I think he got rid of those. I think maintaining those gigantic tanks was a bit of a pain in the butt, I would guess. But that's where I got these plants. Now you can find these potted plants that have a lot of plants in them. Potted plants. Can I say plants? Like 40 more times in one sentence. In the last live stream, we were talking about this. These are the potted plants that I buy. I look around and I specifically find the ones that have been there a long time, have had a chance to adapt, and are actually growing. These are the potted plants that you want to buy when you're at a store. It realistically doesn't matter the variety of plant. It's just a good rule of thumb to find something that has fully adapted to growing underwater and all that kind of stuff, and are growing in the pot. It just is the best way to just visually look and go, hey, that plant is doing well. A lot of times when plants come in shipped from the wholesaler, it takes quite a while for them to adapt and melt and all that stuff because they're grown emerged instead of submerged, if you know what I'm saying. That means that the plants, the leaves and everything are above the water and just the roots are below, sort of like an aquaponic or hydroponic system. That's how they're grown at the wholesalers, and that's how they come in. A lot of times plants have problems adapting, or they'll melt, or this or that or the other thing. You will encounter far less problems if you kind of use that simple tip to find some pots, to look through the pots and actually just point at the ones that you want. They typically will have some smaller little baby plants growing out of the side and this and that and the other thing. If they don't really have that, generally I'll just skip over them and not buy them. But Michael actually had a bunch of plants there that had clearly fully adapted and had time to be ready to go into somebody's aquarium. And so I bought up a bunch of them. There's still some there still are some there. So that is worthwhile. If you're in the area, head over there and check out his store. Honestly, it falls right in the vein of kind of what I would. His store falls into the vein of pretty much what I would imagine most people are looking for when they go to a fish store. You know, it's like maybe there's some food that you're looking for, or maybe some kind of weird specific thing you're looking for. It'll actually be there. Whereas when you go to kind of one of the big box stores, they probably will just look at you like, huh? What's shrimp souffle? Is that like a food thing? We're not a restaurant. But if you go there, he's actually a really friendly guy and pretty nice, pretty good with customer care and all that. So I would recommend for sure. Now, I didn't count how many plants came out of this bunch here, although the one that I counted up on Sunday had 22 individual plants, and I feel like this one is either close to that or about the same. Quite a few individual plants. I just didn't count them. But as you can see here, as I'm going through the getting the rock wool out of here, I'm pulling out all the individual little plants. You can see there's quite a few in here. And Joel Gillott with a super chat. And now we finally know whether or not super chat gets highlighted in this chat viewer. It doesn't, but Joel Gillott says die, die, die advertising, unless it's helping. ... pregnant pause. Huh. So it doesn't show up on this one, so we'll try the other chat viewer next time we live stream, which may or may not be tomorrow. Don't hold me to that. I'm not sure. Not sure yet. Rurutu is asking, do I use tissue cultured plants? I have, with really mixed results, honestly. I did some cultured UG and some dwarf baby tears and something else which escapes me right now. Can't remember what the other one was, but sort of worked, sort of didn't. Sort of did, sort of didn't. So it's not something that I really pursued that much after that, because it was kind of like, well, this sort of works and sort of doesn't work. So I just really wasn't that motivated to keep trying it, because with that such little result, or such little positive result, I kind of just said, screw this, and just went back to traditional. Traditionally having, plant stuff, breeding plants. That's not the right word. Breeding plants is not the right word. There is a word in there, though. What the? My stupid other computers trying to do something. All right, so we're going to move on here to scene 4. Brad Faust, what's up, man? I've had good experience with tissue cultured plants. Okay, well, he's had good experience. I had mixed. So, hey, Matthew Waybright has entered the room. What's up, man? What's going on? All right, we're going to try and change scenes here. Hopefully XSplit doesn't crash. Let's see how this goes. Squadoosh, it worked. Okay. Look at that. Amazing. I'm going to click back over here in case I need to start typing frantically into my computer, but I probably won't. Oh, that wasn't a fart. That was this chair. Trust me, if it was a fart, I would have admitted it. Why is this chair all squeaky today? Sounds like I'm farting. But as we went, let's see, Sunday's live stream, you guys noticed that I planted a lot of the green Cryptocoryne Wendtii in sort of this middling area of the tank. I guess it's kind of hard to tell from this camera angle exactly what's going on, but that's more the middle area where the green ones are, and the bronze are going more to the back. And why is that? Well, the green ones tend to not grow as tall as the bronzes. The bronzes will grow generally pretty tall. They kind of hit that like 12, maybe 14, like a foot tall. And the green ones generally only hit like maybe a half a foot, 6 inch, like somewhere around there. So it's good to have those in the middle and the bigger ones in the back. So that's why I'm putting a lot of the bronzes in the back and surrounding, as pointed out by Rurutu, the dragonstone that's in here. Kind of surrounding that to give it a, kind of surrounding to the back to give them, kind of that bigger foliage to kind of fit in with those, and then I'll have some small stuff down in front here, just to give it kind of a good perspective. When you're planting, a general rule of thumb would be big plants to the back, medium plants to the middle, small plants to the front. If you kind of follow that, you'll really end up with something that's at least aesthetically pleasing when you walk up to it. When you get more and more technical, some of that stuff generally might change a little bit, but realistically, that's sort of how I lay out my tank. Just keep the big plants to the back and the small plants to the front, because otherwise, if you have the big plants in the front, you won't be able to see them through them to see what's going on in the back of the tank. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. What's going on in the chat over here? How are you doing with getting all the chocolate milk out? The chocolate milk is ongoing, and I will tell you why. Operator error. That is my fault. I forgot to change my filter floss, but most of it's gone. So as you can see, there's a little bit of murk in there too. Plus, I was kind of futzing around, and then I do shake off the last little bit of the rock wool as I'm going to plant the plant, which is what all that little floaty madness going on in there is most of whatever's left over on the roots of the plant. Getting the rosette down in there, and wherever Martin is, shout out to correcting me from saying rhizome. Rosette. On a crypt, it's a rosette. I think I just keep thinking about my my bulbitis rhizome. My bulbitis rhizomes, which hopefully I'll shoot a little bit of video on that. I have to clean up all of the old stuff and move them to the sump, and hopefully they shall sprout from down there. We'll see how that goes. Invite the fat kid from Willy Wonka over. He'll suck out all the chocolate milk. He probably would, although he'll probably get stuck in my overflow pipe heading down if memory suits. I think that's what happened to the fat kid. I think he got stuck in the pipe. Is that right? I think that's right. I think the fat kid from Willy Wonka's got caught in the pipe for whatever reason. I think that's just a savage movie, really, when you get down to it. What a weird movie. But plunking in these little rosettes is pretty simple, especially if you have some planting tongs. These things really cost $5. Just go get a pair if you don't have a pair. I've seen a lot of people try and plant plants with their fingers. It doesn't work that well. But one of the reasons that I like to plant my tank with water in it. A lot of people have asked me that over the years. They're like, what? Do you like planting an empty tank or a full tank or any of that kind of stuff? I like planting a full tank. And here's the real reason for all that. I like planting in a full tank because, A, the plants are much easier for me to manage. It's a lot easier for me once I have the roots in there to straighten them out on the initial when I'm planting them in. It is really easy when you reflood a tank for the plants to all be super wonky, like going all over the place and not really making a whole lot of sense. But when the tank is full, it is really easy to plant them exactly how I want them and how I want them to be and keep them at a nice 90-degree heading upward, which is what realistically you want. You want a 90-degree, especially with these crypts, and pretty much anything. You want a 90-degree plant on the root or the rosette or any of the root that you're putting into the substrate there. That's what you're looking for, and I find that way easier to do when the tank is full. When the tank is empty, for me, it's a nightmare. I don't understand why people like to do it that way, but for me, it just kind of turns into a mess, and I don't really like it all that much. So planting with a full tank, I recommend it, but a lot of people don't like it, but that's how I like to do it, so that's how I do it at my place. You know what I'm saying? Vicky, do you know what I'm talking about? Say what? She knows what I'm talking about. Thankfully, I have a lovely spouse who knows what I'm talking about. Right? Yeah. Let's see here. Ty Hang's asking, are you going to use any carpeting plant like UG or Monte Carlo? Well, we do have a little insight to something that I was talking about a while ago, and that is survivor plants in my substrate buckets, because one of them has arrived into, started growing in this tank, and in the next scene I'll show it to you. I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. It might be a Valsneria or something like that, but I don't want to spoil it for you. We'll see. We'll see what it is. It needs to grow in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna let it grow in a little bit, and we're gonna see exactly what it is, because it's basically a little sproutlet right now, and I don't want to judge a sproutlet on just how it looks when it's brand new. You know what I'm saying? I want to judge that little baby. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do UG in this tank. Mainly because I liked doing the UG, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now, Internet. It is kind of too easy of a plant. Is that a douche move? Is that a douche move to say that it's too easy of a plant? I really wasn't challenged by it. I stuck a couple of stems of it in, and it just carpeted all over the place. So I guess in a way that's good, but in just my experience with carpeting it all over the place, it's kind of easy. I mean, you put some in there, and it just will grow. So I'm thinking I might be going a different way. Those of you that have been following for a long time, I did a big glosso carpet. I don't think I'm going to do a glosso carpet in it this time. If you've been following for a long time, I did big carpets of dwarf baby tears, which maybe. It's a maybe on dwarf baby tears. But I'm thinking I want to do a micro sword carpet. I think I want to do a micro sword carpet because the last time I did one was in a 20-gallon tank. And that just gives you a little bit of a timeline how long ago that was. So I think I might be going micro sword on a micro sword carpet. I think is where I'm going to go with this one. I'm leaning that way. That might be the way that I'm going, but I'm going to throw a little caveat in here, a little exception to the possibility of that, is that somebody might be sending something my way that I might get back into growing. And I know that sounds super vague, but we're going to wait. We're going to wait and see if said something is going to come my way or not. Because that might shift exactly what the carpeting is going to go in here. So stay tuned for that as we move along, because we're waiting to hear back. We're waiting to hear back from a certain person, and I'm not going to mention a certain person unless said response is noteworthy. There we go. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens, and but I'm leaning towards micro sword carpet. I think is where we might end up going. That might be the direction that we're going, is with the micro swords. That's where I might be going. Long was asking, what do I use for FERT? Micro and macro mix are generally C-chems FERTs, because they're liquid and I can keep them in my fridge. Hold on a second. Although Colin makes a really good one, and Corey at Aquarium Co-op makes a good one. So if we're looking local, I would go Aquarium Co-op in Edmonds. Corey from Aquarium Co-op makes a really good FERT there too. So, but I generally use C-chems because I can keep it in my fridge, and then I just have it for a really long time. Oh, the seat keeps making fart noises. Hold on, I'm easily distracted here for a second. Hold on. I forgot to speak into the microphone. Sorry, I got to bring the microphone with me. I forgot to bring up the emails. We got to bring up the emails. All right, we actually have some emails this week, but let's go on to scene 6. All right, so a slight overview of the tank here in this little bit of a video. What happened to the chat? Oh, there we go. Chat's back. Boom. It's working. Sort of. I guess it has to load or something as we go scene to scene. I guess maybe I could just make one scene and then turn the... oh, that's what I'm going to do in the next... That's what I'll do next week. I'm going to make all the scenes one size. And then I'm just going to be able to switch from the video feed. Okay. Somebody remind me to do that. But anyhow, as we pan around the tank here, I'm kind of liking how the scape's coming together. So you guys know I had to move the... I had to move some of the driftwood around, some of the rocks around, because I was kind of blindscaping at one point. I'm pretty happy with where they're at now, so I think they'll probably be staying there. I have a bunch of tiny little driftwood and some small rocks to add to the center area right here. And as we come around with the camera shall pan in on random plant that has arrived via the substrate. So like I said, I don't want to judge a book by its cover being a little baby plant. We're going to let it grow a little bit and see who it is. But notice this little guy just came sprouting out, and I haven't planted anything in that spot. So that is one of the bucket plants. So anybody that was looking for the bucket plants, oh, what happened here? Well, I don't know. All right, let's just go back to here. Okay. Why is that not working? All right, hold on. We gotta fix some stuff here. There we go. All right. While I look around inquisitively. Okay, I don't know what happened with that last scene, but we're not gonna push it, guys. We're not gonna push it too hard. We're gonna push the XSplit, because the XSplit will freak out and explode or something. I am not sure when Corey is having a sale. I do not know. I have not spoken to him about any of that. So, but I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will have a sale coming up. And those of you that are paying attention on the YouTubes, I'm sure he'll probably post it up on there and let you all know about it. If not, maybe no, I won't do that. If I go up there and, I'm going to be honest with you guys, if I go up there and hang out at his store, I'm going to push my own agenda. I mean, what else am I supposed to do if I end up driving all the way up there? It's nowadays, it's like 60 miles up to his place. Well, maybe it's less. Maybe it's like 50 something. Which would be an hour on the freeway, but the freeways around here do not allow you to just drive for an hour and get anywhere, especially when you're driving north and have any way of going through Seattle. I think they said Seattle is the third worst traffic, and it is miserable. It is miserable to try and get through Seattle if you're heading up that way. So if we ever do go up to Edmonds, we will definitely go to Co-op and give a shout out to the old Corey and go there and do that. And I'll probably bring my camera because he doesn't seem to mind having anybody come with their camera there. So we might do that at some point in time, but I have to really schedule it because I can't just leave here at some point in time and hope to get there within any given amount of time. Rurutu saying maybe 4th of July sale. Joel Gillett's going to Skype with him in 2 hours so you can ask. So, cool. All right. Then I'm sure Joel will let us know later. I'd love to try out Easy Green next time it's on sale. I'm guessing, I don't know how much his price is, but everyone is saying that they're waiting for the sale, so I'm guessing that maybe it is slightly expensive or something. I don't know. Oh, yeah, Joel, I'll definitely let him know if I'm coming up there. I'll just message him or whatever and let him know I'm coming up there. Yeah, either way, we just haven't Haven't been up that way, actually. My mom used to live up there, but she doesn't live up there anymore. So going to Edmonds isn't really on the agenda to roll up there for any reason. It's really the only reason I went up there was to go visit the mom. You know what I'm saying? So, and now she don't live there. Now she lives over the mountains. So we have to go the other way. You know, we got to zig and then zag and then go up. You know, around the thing, and watch out for skiers. This time of year, got to watch out for downhill BMX riders or mountain bikers. Has anybody in the live chat ever done that? Have you ever mountain biked down from the ski lift? Let me tell you, that's a good time. Let me tell you, you might die, but it's a good time. It's like skydiving. You gotta go in for sure. Long Woo says it's $20 a bottle. Long was saying he was thinking of Crypt Parva for carpeting. You could definitely do a Crypt Parva. I did that a long time ago, but that was also in a small tank. I've never done it in a big tank, so it could be a lot of thumb twiddling. You could be twiddling your thumbs for a while waiting on that one. That could be a long time. The little parvas, the little Crypt Parva, that is actually one of them that does really grow slowly. So getting a full carpet out of that, unless you buy a whole lot of it, you'd have to buy a whole ton of it and then individually plant, which isn't that big of a deal. I individually plant all my plants anyhow. It doesn't really stress me out all that much. If I do the microsword, I'll have to individually plant that also, while the tank is full of water, of course. But I generally don't get too frustrated doing that because I do have some technique. I do have some technique for doing that. The easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is separate everything ahead of time and then put it into a little Tupperware and then scoop a little water into it and then just set it up on top of the tank or float it and then pull out each individual with the tongs, plant it. Tai Hang is asking if I have bought plants online or do I mainly buy locally? Well, I mainly buy locally because I actually am in my body. So if I do happen to find something locally that I was really looking for, I certainly will buy locally. I used to buy often and I guess largely from aquariumplants.com. That is one company that I can definitely recommend that you will get something good. They moved from Iowa. They moved from Iowa to Florida a while back, and so their stuff was interrupted for a little bit, but that's not a problem now. They're fully based in Florida now, so that's not local at all. That's the complete opposite side of the country, but I would still recommend those dudes. If there was a recommendation that I could give to anybody, would be to join your local fish club and go to some of the meetings. Oftentimes in the kind of organized meeting areas or meeting cities, they will have like a auction or whatever at the end of the month or whatnot. I know that all of them locally here have that. So the Seattle one and the Puget Sound Aquarium Society, which is the one that's down here. Those guys are mostly reefers, though. Not the weed kind. The fish tank kind of reefers. And they'll normally have like a coral, auction at the end. The Greater Seattle Aquarium Society almost always has plants for auction at the end of every meeting. That's a good opportunity and also a great opportunity to meet some people that are growing the stuff. And so maybe you couldn't get something at the auction or whatever, but you can definitely meet some people and be like, hey man, I got $10. Can you get me something? Or hey man, I got $20. Can you get me something I'm looking for or whatever? And generally those people are going to be real generous with you. So that's kind of a thing that I would go. Rurutu used aquariumplants.com. I use those guys for sure. And I always got good stuff from them. So let's run over a couple of emails today. Josh's Aquariums is asking, do you know of anywhere to find large driftwood in the Seattle area? I will give you the same advice that I give most people. Large driftwood is always going to be difficult to find. Large driftwood is always going to be a problem, and I'll tell you why. It's expensive to ship around, and it's also like per size per sale from a retail aspect, from a retail standpoint. Retail stores want to sell you a bunch of small driftwood. They don't want to sell you a bunch of large pieces because you're probably not going to buy any more after that. They would rather encourage you to make a bunch of small purchases. So finding large driftwood would be difficult. The one place that I used to be able to find large driftwood in Seattle was QT Aquariums, but they are no longer in business. Oh, sorry. I forgot my water. I'm getting to that point where talking straight for an hour starts to make me cough a little bit. QT Aquariums is where I used to go and get large driftwood. That was a guy that had it, but he is no longer in business. I believe he was illegally selling fish out of the basement or something. So that was my favorite place to go for large driftwood. Let me think of another one in Seattle. There is a spot, the Little Amazon up on 99 north of Seattle typically will have something there large, but I don't know. The best thing to do for anything large driftwood wise is to go source it yourself. Go hiking around riverbed, streams, and all that kind of stuff, and find the stuff that's going on. One of my biggest pieces that is one of my favorite pieces of driftwood was actually the root ball off of a tree from a guy who just carried a chainsaw around with him for whatever reason and happened to see a tree that was falling down. He cut the whole root ball off and then stuck it in his discus tank for 3 or 4 years. And when he came to break down the discus tank, he sold his driftwood. And who bought it? This guy right here. So one of my favorite places to go there. Manzanita.com is a great site to go to. You can actually pick stuff out. If you're looking for really big driftwood and you're a gangster, phone up or email up Tom Barr, Tombarr. Get a hold of him. He has a giant collection of serious driftwood, and he will ship you a pallet. There are a lot of people out there that use his stuff. Tom Barr has been a dude that has for sure been one of the probably best American aquascapers around for a long time. There are probably a few people nipping at his heels or whatever, but as far as Americans go, there probably isn't very many other in that guy's realm. But he has a huge collection, and he'll actually send you specific pieces if you want of gigantic driftwood. He actually lives in California and is an avid mountain runner and mountain biker, and then he sources the wood and then hires college kids to go dig it and carry it down the mountain. So, I mean, when I say he's got pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of driftwood at his house, that's his just standard operation day to day. So get a hold of Tom Barr if you're really looking for something specific and large, because that dude will he'll send it to you. Sagrath 1982, what up? You bought plants on Amazon. In Vegas, plants are overpriced. Yeah, in Vegas for sure. Almost everything is overpriced. My boy Knox used to live down there. He moved back to Hawaii because now he's in Hawaii, and he just kind of goes outside to get everything, and it's free in Hawaii, whether it's corals or plants or whatever. Yeah, Vegas, pretty much everything is overpriced in Vegas. Whether it's a Uber cab ride or aquarium plants, they're all pretty overpriced. I'm glad I never moved there. I got offered a position within a company to, well, it wasn't even Vegas. It was, what's the name of that town? Babe, what's the name of that town outside of Vegas? Henderson. It was in Henderson. and I opted to not go. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't, because that hot desert is too much. And Glorious Beta did a Tom Barhouse tour and did show his driftwood pile. It is strong. Sagrath, Henderson. That's what I was saying. I got a company wanted me to move to Henderson and take over one of their properties there, and no, I said no. I couldn't do that. That was just going to be a bad idea. But we're running up on the end of the live stream for today, guys. I wanna appreciate everybody out there for coming out, and a few people that didn't come out, like Potato and Cichlid Bro, or maybe Potato Bro is hiding somewhere. Special thank you to Joel Gillett for the super chat tonight. I very much appreciate your guys' support. Anybody that it's a community effort here to keep this thing going. All the money that you guys chip in just heads right back out to the fish room and keeping the lights on, if you know what I'm saying. So I much appreciate it. And let's run through and say thanks to a couple other people. But Joel Gillett, my New Zealand brother, go ahead and book that flight and come over and crash in our spare room so that we can then be owed the favor to stay in New Zealand, if you know what I'm saying. Like, we want to come to Hobbit Town and hang out with the Hobbitses. Silly Hobbitses! But it's coming together pretty well. So that's going to be the end of the thing today. Sagrath 1982, Ruru 2, Tai Hang, thank you for coming out. Long Woo for sure. Was at his house on Sunday. Other people. Ruben, hey man, what's up? I will tell you about that substrate next live stream. Fisher for Boxes. Nisi, thank you so much for coming out and sharing the live stream. Matthew Waybright, Kyle's Fish Room, TITI, Ryan S. for showing up, and then I think you left. Probably had to go take a nap because it's late. I don't blame you. But thank you, everybody, for coming out, and have a glorious Tuesday. Stay safe out there and get ready for Hump Day. It's coming up. And now I got to find the button. Where's the button, guys? Oh, damn it. Where's the button? Oh, I found the button. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for later.